Om Brahmanandam Paramasukadam Kevalam Jnanamurtim Dvandvatitam Ganganasadrisham Tattvamasyadilaksham Ekam Nityam Vimalamachalam Sarvadi Sakshibhutam Bhavatitam Trigunarahitam Sadgurum Tam Namami.
Dear Seeker of Truth, welcome. This work that we are going to talk about is one of the most sacred dialogues because it happens between two enlightened beings. One is Ashtavakra, the other is King Janaka, which was Ashtavakara's disciple. So in it you will have a glimpse of the instruction of an enlightened being so that you can achieve liberation, and also the vision of how a liberated being stands, acts, what is his experience. So pay attention to these teachings, fill your heart with surrender, devotion, sacredness, because that is the way to enjoy it the most. May it blossom in your heart, may you also find liberation. Moving on, 11th chapter, Wisdom. This is a very important chapter, speaks about wisdom. True wisdom is through self-realization. And whatever teachings are there that come from the self-realized one, that is pure wisdom. So Ashtavakra said, he who has realized that change in the form of existence and destruction is in the nature of things, easily finds repose, being unperturbed and free from pain. Because once you understand that things coming into existence and then disappearing, being destroyed, it's in their nature, is not subject to control. It's not something that you can control, influence, or whatever. So things appear and disappear all the time in their own time. So once you understand that, one easily finds repose because one is not struggling to acquire, to maintain, to change. He knows that it is natural, things appearing or disappearing. So easily finds repose. The mind is not pointed at keeping things, maintaining things, conquering things, and trying to preserve them. Being unperturbed and free from pain. So unperturbed, meaning that he knows that it is natural, it is the nature of things, so he will not get disturbed by these changes, by things that appear and by things that disappear. It doesn't matter if they're good or bad in your interpretation. Change in the form of existence and destruction is natural. So you will not get disturbed by understanding this. You will not get disturbed if things appear and then if things disappear. Animated things, inanimated things, it doesn't make a difference. But the real one that can really repose and be unperturbed and free from pain is the self-realized being, because he knows by the nature of reality, he knows what's the nature of illusion, and he reposes because There's nothing else besides him. And he is free from pain because that is the nature of the self. For those who are not self-realized, understanding this concept, looking at their own experience, and see that things come and go, understanding that that's their nature. It's not about the level of control you exert, because no matter what control you exert, things will disappear when the time comes. And no matter what the level of control you exert for certain things not to come, they will come when the time comes. And by understanding this, you remain peaceful, undisturbed, in quietude. So for the self-realized being, that is the natural state. For the one who hasn't realized the self, this wisdom helps to maintain quietude. And this enables dissolution to dissolve. And that equals self-realization. And it is different than saying that this enables self-realization, because it doesn't. It is illusion that disappears, not reality that appears. He who has known for certain that Ishvara is the creator of all, and that there is none else here, becomes peaceful with all his inner desires set at rest, and is not attached to anything whatsoever. So, through faith in the self-realized being's words, one who knows for certain that Ishvara is the creator of all, and that there is none else here. There is only Ishvara. There's no individual self. There's just Ishvara. There's just a self. He becomes peaceful because there's no one else. There is nothing to acquire. There is nothing that can be acquired because there's nothing else. There's no one else and nothing else but Ishvara. With all his inner desires set at rest because they're pointless. There is nothing to go, there's nowhere to go to satisfy those desires. Even those desires are not real. Only the self exists. So by this understanding, by this knowing, all inner desires are set at rest. And he is not attached to anything whatsoever, because there is nothing to be attached to. There's only Ishvara. Everything else is illusion, is a play. So to what will I be attached to? So when you look at everything, forgetting about the names and the forms, and realizing that is just Ishvara that is being seen. It is just Ishvara that is seeing. And that sees, and it is just Ishvara in the seeing. Then there's no attachment to anything whatsoever because of this understanding, this faith. But again, the one that can really know for certain that Ishvara is the creator of all and that there is no one else here is the knower of truth, the knower of the self, because this has been his realization. That he is the river of souls and the ocean of all souls. So for certain, only the knower of the self can be certain of that because that is his experience. And by knowing that directly, his inner desires are set at rest immediately. And detachment disappears because duality disappears. There's just oneness. It's not conceptual, so how can you get attached to something that doesn't exist, that disappears? It needs to be there for you in some way, for that attachment can be created. There's no attachment to nothing. Continuing, he who has known for certain that adversity and prosperity come in their own time through the effects of past actions is ever contented, as all his senses under control, and neither desires nor grieves. So here is very interesting. So a normal life, a normal person is always struggling for prosperity and struggling so that it doesn't go through adversity. In a sense, convinced that can make something different, that it has any control of it. But a normal person is doing this, and it is creating more fruits. So it is engaged in not only the past, but also in the future. I will explain. So for the one who is halting all investments, and for example, this is the context, a seeker of truth. And for those worries that come up, oh, I have to sustain the body, I have to do this, I have to do that. You understand that adversity and prosperity come in their own time through the effects of past actions means that whatever I'm living now is not a fruit of my present effort, is fruit of past effort. And whatever are my efforts now, the fruits of it, good and bad, I will experience in what I call now the future. So those investments are creating more rebirths because I will need more rebirths to reap those fruits. So halting those investments, understanding that what is coming now is a fruit of past actions, so there's no control on it. And halting those investments means that I'm making sure that there's no need for other rebirths. At the same time, whatever is coming, whatever I call adversity or prosperity, it is just different circumstances that allows me either to make myself more ignorant or make myself more wise, depending on how I embrace it. And it is a way of exhausting experiences. And this goes beyond even this, what is called awakened state. I don't like a lot of that terminology because it is deceiving, but let's use it for now. Because in the dream state, a lot of things, what is called the dream state, a lot of things is lived, also is burned. And the more intense is your meditation, your practices towards liberation, the more fast these things come, so that more karma can be burned down, be exhausted. Because certain things will have to be lived. Sleeping, awaken, doesn't matter, but they will have to be lived. And certain experiences have to be lived prior to liberation. So this is not to say that you should look at these things and say, oh, I have to live this, then I will get liberation. It's not that. The focus of the seeker of truth is always to abstract. and whatever has to be lived, he will be forced to live. But still, he will maintain his focus if he is a seeker of truth. And in doing so, he will exhaust those karmas, and those karmas, those experiences will have the needed impact in its own beliefs and will help him to move faster towards liberation. Okay, come in their own time through the effects of past actions is ever contended. So at this point, as a seeker of truth, he knows that the present conditions are fruits of past karmas. So don't need to worry if there will be food or not, if there will be this or that, whatever will come. What I call good or bad is just different circumstances. Something that will challenge me and impel me to my liberation if I have the wisdom for it. And it doesn't matter how much I struggle. It is a fruit of past actions. So, remaining contented with what comes is the wisest stance and allows you to remain in quietude. Has all his senses under control because it doesn't need to go get things. If it's coming, it's coming. If it's not coming, it's not coming. And neither desires for new things because he doesn't want to guarantee another rebirth, nor he grieves for what is coming or for what is not coming because there are no more expectations. Because even the expectations are creating a future, are guaranteeing a future beyond. So everything sets to rest by this recognition. And again, the one who can really know for certain is the awakened one because he knows the nature of what is called reality. And that whatever has to happen with the body will happen with the body-mind. And with self-realization, not even this body is my own. It belongs to the story itself that really doesn't exist. He who knows for certain that happiness and misery, birth and death are due to effects of past actions, does not find anything to accomplish, and thus becomes free from care and is not attached even though engaged in action. So again, this prarabdha karma, past actions, it is the karma that is in effect in this life that was responsible for the appearance of this body and the stories that this body will live are under that prarabdha karma. That cannot be changed. The karmas that are not yet in motion, those can be burned with deep meditation, with intense quietude, with renunciation. But not these ones. So, happiness and misery, circumstantial happiness or circumstantial misery, are the effects of past actions, not of present ones. Birth and death of the body are a fruit of past karmas, not of this one. So by knowing this, what is there to be accomplished? So not taking care of tomorrow, of the conditions for tomorrow, because I know that it is because of past actions, and those of tomorrow will only create new rebirths, and that we don't want. So what is there to accomplish? Nothing. and thus becomes free from care. He stops caring about things in all senses. And remember, care, as we talked, is the source of misery in the world, and is not attached even though engaged in action. So whatever actions the body is performing, they are also a fruit of past actions. And without knowing this, you are attached to the fruits of those actions. So those actions itself, because of the fruits that you expect to come from them. When all this is known, then there will be no attachment to the actions that the body seems to be performing. But again, the full scope of this, only the knower of truth can reach, can experience, can exhibit. Because he's the one that knows for certain that misery and happiness and misery, birth and death are due to effects of past actions, because nothing exists apart from himself. So no future, nothing. Well, in reality, not even the past, but let's not make it more complicated. Does not find anything to accomplish, because there's nothing beyond himself. There's just the self. There is no duality. Nothing that needs something and nothing to get nowhere to get that something. And becomes free from care. Care from what? There's nothing there. There's just bliss. And there's nothing to be attached. And even if the body is moving, it is according to his past karmas. He has no interest in those actions whatsoever. Actions are exhausting themselves. Like the flame that it is burning a candle and disappears in that process. And when the time comes, it just dissolves. Okay.
Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.